But if you ask specific questions and listen to those answers and then apply that to what you're looking for them, then I think that minimizes the number of properties that you have to go see in order to find, that one, as they say, prince, right?
Welcome to the Dream Home Podcast, the show where real estate meets real talk. Hosted by John Nagle, a seasoned expert with over $7 billion in real estate financing experience. This podcast features top realtors, builders, and financial pros. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, we've got the tools to help you make smarter moves. Here's your host, John Nagle.
Welcome back to another episode of the Dream Home Podcast, where we explore the people, places, and programs that help turn your dream of homeownership into reality. I'm your host, John Nagle with CMG Home Loans. Today, I'm honored to be joined by James Keoughan, Senior Vice President of Allie Beth Allman Associates and leader of the Keoughan Group. With more than 23 years of experience, James has helped over 1,000 transactions and has been named a D-Best top producer multiple times. James specializes in Southlake, Colleyville, Trophy Club, Westlake, Grapevine, and the surrounding neighborhoods. He's a graduate of Northwood University, Leadership Southlake, past president of his neighborhood HOA, a volunteer with the Boy Scouts, a member of Southlake's sister cities, and he and his wife have raised 4 dragons in Carroll ISD. James, welcome to the show.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. We're having a beautiful day here in Texas, as you know. It's pretty typical, which is a great thing.
Yes, great fall morning we're having.
Yeah, love it. So let's start with your superpowers. What makes you and your team stand out in such a competitive market?
So, real estate is such a personal thing, especially when it comes to home ownership. So, I hear so many of my clients that say, their previous realtor or they've had experiences with a past realtor and they showed them properties that didn't really match what they were looking for. And so I think when I first meet with a buyer specifically and they have specific requirements, I think taking the time initially to listen to them, understand what it is that they're looking for, the type of community, the type of home, and really just getting those needs met, I think makes the difference between what we do and what potentially other realtors or agents provide as services. So that I think that makes a difference for us.
Yeah, that's super important. It's surprising how many people don't listen and then just start throwing properties out the door. Here, look at this one. Look at this one. It's 3 bedrooms. So it's it's an important point because you're saving those people the trouble of sorting through things that just don't match up at all and fine tuning it so they have really good options that are in their parameters.
Yeah, it's common to hear, oh, last time we were looking at houses, we looked at 30 or 40 or 50 houses. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they drug you around all over town. I said, but if you ask specific questions and listen to those answers and then apply that to what you're looking for them, then I think that minimizes the number of properties that you have to go see in order to find, that one, as they say, prince, right? So,
yeah, and it's so confusing. It's impossible. I used to, when I first started in the business, we would go on these the home tours with the other brokers in the office to see what came on the market that week, and it's impossible to remember. If you're looking at that many houses, it's impossible to remember 5 houses ago. Well, what was good about that one, and what did I like, and what did I not like? So it just makes it more confusing to go through that process of looking at so many homes.
Yeah, they say that if you see, about 10 homes, they all start to blend together. And I always stop down, when we're out showing, I stop down. That's each time we see 3 houses, I stop and say, okay, let's revisit those 3 houses. Whether we're in the 4th house or the 8th house or whatever it might be, we stop and we kind of, all right, what was good about those 3 houses? Was there one of the 3 that you particularly liked, or none at all, or all of them? And if there was 1 or 2, then I dog ear that property on my sheets or make a note. And then at the end of the day, we revisit and, maybe we have a top 2 or 3 or 4 homes out of the homes that we saw that day. And we then kind of focus on having a conversation about those 3 or 4 homes and, trying to help them narrow down, the home that they like the best of all of those. So
yeah, that's a great strategy, because then you get the highlights and you can remember that for 3 homes, and then you said, okay, I like this one best out of those 3. And then as you go through your next batch, you're able to really quickly get to the ones that they like the best because you've had that discussion periodically. So I think that's a great strategy.
Yep.
So with all that experience, what's one key trend in the Dallas-Fort Worth market that listeners should know right now?
Well, you hear a lot in the news. Sometimes it's negative about the market and, interest rates and home prices. And certainly all those have an impact on the market. But what I'm noticing, and we didn't certainly see this during the COVID rage of, home buyers. But what we're seeing now in the market is that homes that are presented well and have been updated and that are clean really are, the cream of the crop, if you will, and are getting multiple offers still, which I know is unheard of. But if they're, again, well-maintained, cleaned, and updated, those homes are getting multiple offers still in this market. So it's when you are going to spend the kind of money that we're seeing nowadays, buyers really want to get what they perceive as the best value. And so, my advice to sellers is, let's get it cleaned up. If there's anything we can do to improve the property, let's do so within reason. I don't want someone to have to go out and spend, several $1,000s to redo their house when they're going to sell it. But they need to know that, okay, well, you haven't updated it in 10 years, so we probably can't necessarily get top dollar, but we'll get you as much as we can, as much as the market will bear. But a lot of people do, update their homes, and so those homes are getting top dollar still in this market.
Yeah, and things as simple, like you say, the presentation is kind of everything, because things such as simple as clutter and, making it appear that there's more space, just try to do something with that so you're not walking in there, can barely walk through a room because there's so much, stored in that room. So that's a very good point. Presentation is everything, even if you don't have that newest of remodeling done in the last year or 2 in your home.
Well, one of the things that, so when I meet with a client and as far as, a seller wanting to list their home, the next person typically that they see after me, if they want to work with me, is I have a home stager. I send my home stager for a staging consultation on every listing. And she's the one that will, as soon as she drives up, she starts, okay, what am I seeing when I drive up? Because this is what a buyer is going to see. And she starts from the front yard and she walks into the home. And how's the foyer? How is the living? And she has been doing this for 25 years. So within 15, 20 minutes of walking through the home with the seller, she's able to analyze what needs to be done. And then the rest of the time that she's there about an hour or so. And she's actually working hands on hand with the seller to say, hey, look, let's move this table over here. Let's move this chair over here. Let's remove some of these photos off the wall. So she's very hands-on, and that's great. And then I also provide architectural photography as well as video and drone, which really I think buyers today want to see video. They want to see photos. They want to see drone shots. Where is the home located in the neighborhood? What's around it? So all that technology is providing, great visual enticements to the buyer when they're looking online, which most everyone is looking at properties online. So.
Yeah, and that staging on every property, that's a huge value add that you don't see often. So, it's good to know you do that. And then like you say, the video and aerial is something you also don't see. So that's a big plus because it gives that buyer, especially if it's someone that's not already in that neighborhood or that area, a better understanding of what it is. What is that neighborhood like? And it's going to, basically bring in a lot more interest, in my opinion, because you have maybe buyers that were not considering that area, but when they see the videos and they see the areas, boy, that looks like it's a perfect type of thing that we're looking for in the environment. So it's awesome.
Yep.
So buying or selling a home can feel overwhelming. How do you step in to make the process smoother for your clients?
So I think, in the area that I'm in, and the area that I serve here in Southlake and Keller, Grapevine, Colleyville, we have a lot of people that move here from different parts of the world, different parts of the United States. So a lot of times they don't know the area as well as we that live locally, and they may or may not have family or friends here. And it's a challenge for those families when they relocate across the country or across the globe to feel comfortable. Is this going to be a place that I can raise my children or meet people and develop that community that they need, that they're desiring? And so by the fact that I've been in the area for so long, what I like to do is, maybe in the first half a day, as we will go and look at schools. I'll introduce them to the principals of the schools. We'll go to the city, town halls, and I'll, get them experience in where the town hall is and the different shopping centers are at, just to get themselves familiar with the community and what the community has to offer them. And that's the challenge, is just trying to help them understand where are they moving to and what does this community have to provide me and my family. That's important.
Absolutely. So can you share an example of when going the extra mile really made a difference?
Sure. Having buyers come, and let me just take a look at my notes here. I made
Sure.
A this is such a great area we live in, and the proximity to the airport, and a lot of people have certain requirements and are looking for certain things, and being able to help a buyer accomplish their goal, and a lot of times they don't know that they can. So when I meet with clients or get a referral from a friend, and they say, well, I think my sister needs to move closer to us, and she's not sure that she can afford to be, nearby or close to us, and really looking for the communities that can fit those needs for that buyer. And so I have some examples of clients that have didn't think they could live close to their family, and we were able to find whether it was a townhome or a smaller home that would get them close to their family. And going to a closing table with the family, and when they came in with the expectation of, well, we're not really sure where we're going to be able to afford to live, and then being able to find them that home that meets a lot of their needs, it's such a great experience for them and for me. And this is why I really enjoy working with my clients, and helping them find the properties that fit their needs.
And that's super rewarding because it is a challenge. We aren't necessarily in the lowest price market always when we're trying to be in a certain area or certain neighborhood. So that is super rewarding. And I'm sure that they're very appreciative when you help to make that a reality for them.
Yeah, I think, our market does have a diversified product line and price points. not every market has that. Um, so there are areas that I can introduce them to that should be able to fit into their price point, and accomplish most of their goals that they're looking for.
That's awesome. So let's talk about something awesome. You once helped an investment team purchase 25 homes. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I had an investor from California, and this was during COVID, and there were a lot of investors. In fact, I think in 2021, Tarrant County, which is the county that I live in, 56% of the homes that were sold during that year were sold to investors.
Wow.
Um, that made it a challenging time because there was a lot of competition for properties. And certainly they had some specific criteria. They were looking for 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. They didn't want a pool. Researching home values, researching rental rates for them because they were renting the properties. It was a lot of work, and we were able to be very successful in this process. But we made a lot of offers. Fortunately, this investor was not unrealistic, which some investors can be. They think that they can buy a property at 70% or 60% of the market value, and that's just not realistic, especially during that time. So I'm grateful that they were understanding of the market and were willing to work with me and trying to locate these properties for them, and it was a great experience, and I'm glad that I could help them meet that goal.
Yeah, I love that story. It had to be an exciting time. Like you said, you had a lot of competition. So it wasn't you could just, as they were hoping, right? Or some investors hope to get this huge discount because they're, buying, and closing quickly, but it just wasn't in the cards in those days. So they really did need to look at the long haul here, not, what is my return in the first 6 months or the first year of this investment, because that's where the real value is that we have this appreciating market where people keep moving here and the values keep going up. So you do have to pay a fair price to get a property under contract. So what about a family story, one that really stuck with you?
I think I've helped a few families that are going through some challenges. Divorce is certainly something that happens more than we'd like it to. Mm-hmm. And being able to help those families, whether it's selling a property, because that's typically their largest asset, and working with each of those personalities, and just juggling, if you will, all that, trying to keep everyone going in the right direction, because and reminding them that the goal is right to sell your home, and as long as this is the direction that you as a family are going in, and just trying to keep them on track, because certainly personalities or emotions can get the better of people and can sidetrack things. And so one of the abilities that I have is just to remain calm and try to keep the overall process as low key or as smooth as possible. So in a divorce, that's a challenge, but I've been successful in helping people through that process. And it is a trying time for the entire family, the children, each of the spouses and their extended family as well. On the flip side is working with buyers. Again, trying not to disrupt especially to the children and their, where their friends are and the schools that they've been to, and trying to find properties that now we don't, maybe we don't have that combined income possibly, or, we have to take those into consideration as, okay, to minimize the challenges for the children. How can we keep them in the same school? How can we, work through that process? And so helping families on the buy side is important, and trying to keep everybody, on track, like I said. But that is rewarding. Again, I don't like that these folks are having, that are going through this. It is part of life, but I think people appreciate, how I'm able to keep the emotions out of the transaction as much as possible to help get them to the goal that they ultimately are trying to reach.
Right. And to, make it as comfortable as possible in considering all these circumstances. So that's a very good point.
Yeah. Well, there's another experience I can share with you. I had a neighbor actually in my neighborhood, and her husband passed away. And it, I was working with her to try to get her home on the market. She needed to sell it. She wasn't able to afford living with the taxes and the upkeep and the maintenance and everything. So she needed to sell it. And I was working with her to, send my stager over, and it seemed to be taking a little bit longer to get to where she felt like we could go out and take photos of the home. Normally it's a few weeks that people need time to get things, get the home ready. But we were going on a month to 6 weeks. And so I went over to the house, and I asked to sit down with her and said, I know that this is a struggle. This is a challenge. This is difficult. And she said, "Oh, James, you have no idea that every time I go into his office, I just turn around and leave. I cannot sit down and see his name and, go through the papers that we need to get rid of or keep. The same thing with his closet. I can't go into his closet." So the emotions that she was struggling with to deal with that, and kind of gut wrenching almost to think about that. Right. And so what I did was I said, "Listen, I want to help you with this. And I'm going to bring someone over that specializes in going through this process, and they will visit with you, take notes, and try to understand what it is that you want to have pulled out and kept, and the things that you're okay with letting go of." Right. And so that really helped her. And she was so appreciative of the fact that she did not have to go through his ties and his shirts and his papers. But this service was able to come in and step in and help her. And within a week or so, we were out there taking photos. And I don't know how long it would have taken if I wasn't able to provide her that service to get her through this stage. And she was very appreciative of that, and thanked me, extensively, and then sent me some clients as well.
Yeah, that is an awesome solution. And that would be heartbreaking to be in her position. The wound is still fresh. And then, having that bring up all those memories, I can see why it would have been very difficult for her. So that's a terrific solution to help her through that burden of that process. So resources make a huge difference. What tools or systems do you provide that help your clients feel confident?
So made some notes about that. So I learned early on that, having checklists that when you visit with the buyer, when you visit with the seller, and providing those checklists to them so that they know, one, as a buyer, what do I need to do to be ready? What are the steps to get out to start looking at homes? And so I provide that checklist to buyers so that they're, getting their, credit and their 401k statements and their investments, getting all that paperwork, their bank statements, their pay stubs, getting all that put together. uh, working through the criteria of what type of home and where and their price range. Those are all things that they need to do to get ready. And the same thing on the selling side is what are things that we need to do to get the home ready? How do we prepare to put our home on the market? And so providing those checklists to them. And then also when they sell their home, what do we need to do to make sure that we've got everything, like, letting the post office know that you're moving, making sure that your utilities are turned off. And here's one that a lot of people don't think about: Amazon, right? Letting Amazon know, or going into Amazon and changing your address. And they don't think about that. And they've gone on and order something. And then all of a sudden, oh no. And then, a little self-serving here, because then they call me to go pick it up.
Yeah.
And put it in the mail to them. So try to minimize what I'm having to do is by helping them make sure that they change the address on Amazon. But in addition to that, some of the tools, technology that we use, like I said, Stager, that's a tool to help them get the home ready to go on the market and get it prepped for photos. And so the architectural photography, I think that's a big, I see a lot of photos online, and man, they don't need to show those photos, in my opinion. The beds are unmade, the kitchen's got, stuff on the counters, and there's dogs in photos, and there's cars, and, it's like, you need to pay attention. And so by working with professionals to, again, stage the home, and then using professionals, even my photographer will go through, and then, he sets up a shot, and then he looks, okay, what am I seeing in this frame in this photo that shouldn't be there, right? And so then he'll step around the camera and move it, or we'll work, I work together with them. I'm there when they're doing the photo shoot. I'm always looking for the money shot. The money shot is when I go through a home, or I look at the outside of the property and say, okay, where is the money shot that's going to make this home stand out online? And I make sure that we, get that shot. And like I said before, using video, I have a unique setup where the photographer will start with his drone about 50 feet in the air or so, and he comes down to the front door with the drone, stops the video, then he takes his handheld camera, and I stand in front of the house and say, welcome to 123 Main Street. This is my newest listing. This is James Keoughan with Allie Beth Allman Associates, and welcome. And then he comes through and does video of the home, and then he goes to the back door and stops the video, and then he has the drone. He gets the drone started up. He gets it at the back door, starts the video, and then goes up 50 feet. So it's like you've done a fly through the property. And I think that's a really cool video to show the home. And it really gives people the experience of actually, what would it be like to live in that property? Because you're seeing the front, you're seeing the back, you're seeing the inside. And then the drone still shots of the different locations. Like if you're facing west or east or south, what am I seeing? Where am I at in proximity to the community center or the swimming pool or the community lake, and just gives people a real feel for where the property is located and all those things. So I think those are some really unique technologies, and AI is really going to expand those and be able to help us really accentuate those in those amenities of these homes. I think going forward, obviously we have a lot to learn from AI. So, but yeah, implementing all those tools, I think really helps separate my listings from a lot of the competition in those neighborhoods.
Yeah, and the professional photography aspect is certainly important. It makes a huge difference because they have the right lenses. They have, and again, the eye, and then the fact that you're physically there with them to identify, here's the money shot that with the pool or the, family room or the kitchen or whatever it is that makes that home really special and unique. but presenting it then where it looks like literally this is in a magazine, right? It's in some magazine. That's the way those photos turn out. And then adding the drone and the aerial coming in and out of the house and through the house to fly through, that's definitely unique. You very rarely see that. So it's a huge value add that you're, providing your sellers for sure. So for someone listening who's thinking about making a move, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's work with professionals. You know, um, look at the tax advantages or tax implications. Strategizing of when to move. Working with a professional realtor to say, okay, when is the best time to sell my home? If you have that ability, right? A lot of people may not. They may have to sell for a new job that they're being transferred to, and they have to be there in 60 days. So they may not have a lot of choice of when they can list their home. But if you do, I think it's visiting with a professional, real estate agent or realtor, and kind of strategizing. When is the best time to market the home, and when am I going to get the best bang for buck, if you will, and what should I do to the home? If you have time, what would be improvements that would be, would return my highest investment? I had one client one time had me come over to the house and said, James, we're probably not going to sell for a couple of years, and we know the home needs to be updated, and we want to maximize the value of our home, but we'd like to enjoy it. And I said, understand, because the last thing you want to do is spend $50,000, and yes, you'll get it back. But wouldn't it be nice to enjoy it for a little while before you actually, turn the property over? And so I got them hooked up with all kinds of contractors, and they did the improvements. They enjoyed them for a couple of years, and then they reached out to me and said, James, okay, we're ready to move on, and please help us sell the home. And we got top dollar for the property. Because they did a lot of the improvements that I suggested. And, again, they enjoyed them while they had them. And but it really benefited them, and they enjoyed the last couple of years in the home. But then we're able to capitalize on those, expenses, or that, the money they put into the property.
Yeah, so they really had the best of both worlds. They were able to enjoy it for a couple of years and then maximize the return that they got on that investment of doing those upgrades at the end. So that's the perfect plan. So walk us through what a client experiences when they work with you and the Keoughan group.
So, as I said, that initial meeting is really important. Getting to understand what are their needs, their desires, what would be the perfect home if we could find it. And just listening and being able to understand what it is that makes a certain area be the one that's for them. And, with the technology on the listing side and the marketing tools that we have at Allie Beth Allman, as well as the one that I implement, having the market knowledge to help them get the best value for their home or help them find the best property for their needs. I have a great network of community leaders. I have a database of all kinds of trades that people will need, whether it is to get their home ready or when they buy a home and they want to do things to the property, and getting them connected with financial planners or lenders such as yourself. Working with them to serve all their needs in this whole process, because it's not just finding a home, right? It's a big pie, and I really only have a slice of it, but I have control of a lot of it and can help them locate all the professionals that they need, from title or lending or a plumber, or lawn care. So those are all things that they need And we provide all those services and help them connect with those, again, community leaders and the tradesmen and all the different components to the real estate transaction, as well as, connecting with the community.
Yeah, and that's so important because when you're new to a community, you don't have any idea, and you need a plumber. You start dialing right out of the from the internet, and who knows what you're going to end up with there. So to have somebody that's trusted and you can rely on, and that has worked with your clients before, that's such a comfort to have those resources like that they would not be able to have on their own without your help.
I agree.
So, what do past clients say it's like working with you?
I would, from the comments that they've made, I think that they like the fact that I listen. They like my level of experience, being in the business for 23 years, selling over 1,000 homes. That brings a lot of experience, and I think people appreciate that, and they appreciate the calmness that I bring to the transaction. Again, in the difficult situations, it really helps them. But overall and in general, I bring a calmness and a confidence to the transaction that people, I think, really appreciate, that they feel like James has got my back, and that, we're there for them, or that I'm there for them, no matter what it is, and can really help negotiate for their best interest, and making them feel like they've been heard, and that that we're there for them, not just another deal.
Absolutely. So James, thank you for sharing your journey with us today. From guiding families block by block to orchestrating 25 home investment deals, your dedication really shines. For listeners, if you're buying, selling, or investing in Southlake, Colleyville, Westlake, Grapevine, Trophy Club, and beyond, connect with James at the Keoughan Group or jameskeoughan.com, or on Instagram at James Keoughan Group. We'll have all his links in the show notes. And if you're looking to get pre-approved or explore financing options, visit dreamhomepodcast.com or reach out to me directly at CMG Home Loans. Thanks for tuning in to the Dream Home Podcast. See you next time. James, thanks so much. I really appreciate your taking time to join us.
I really appreciate the time that we spent together this morning. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Dream Home Podcast, hosted by John Nagle. Ready to take the next step towards your dream home? Visit www.dreamhomepodcast.com for resources, tips, and expert advice. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, leave a review, and join us next time for more real estate insights and mortgage tips. Until then, happy home hunting.